Hello and welcome to Wake Up with Arghon. I'm Lauren, Arghon's Chief Creative Officer, here today with
Collie Brown, Arghon CEO and founder.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to talk about home assistants and people getting into the AI space, but you take it away, Collie. Home assistants.
So, we've seen recently that, a lot of companies, well, not a lot of companies, but a few big companies are talking about, talking up their AI, their quote unquote assistant. And they have commercials and things like that. So my question is, because, when I look at what they're talking about and the all the chatter around it, all the media that surrounds this thing, one starts to wonder if, does the media think that these AIs or these are
they the only ones?
Yeah, are they the only ones in town? And if a company is out ahead in terms of the visible part of it, do they have an insurmountable lead? What are your thoughts on something like that?
Well, when I think about the current state of AI and home assistants and things like that, I think we haven't really begun to even look to see the full scope of artificial intelligence. I think there's a lot of things that are getting very much confused for AI, like machine learning and robotics, and all of those might tangentially be related, but true AI, especially because we have not been on the mainstream yet, so that's when they'll really see what true AI is. But in addition to that, I think there's so much more for people to learn, and I think one of the mistakes that's happening right now is that so much attention is being paid to the loudest voices in the room, the biggest presence in the room. So these larger companies that everybody knows, you use their products, that kind of thing. I think so much attention is being put there that it's kind of like a Wright Brothers situation where people were talking about, will we have flying machines and will we be able to be in the air? And the Wright brothers were for 2 years had been flying their actual plane. So I think there's definitely a lot more eye-opening and awareness that the industry, tech writers and just media in general, in addition to the tech industry, there's more they need to know.
I agree with you there. The jury's not out. The jury is out, sorry, it's not back yet. So the fact of the matter is, from history, we know a lot of innovation, irrespective of AI, other technologies, come through small companies. Companies like ours and other small companies. Because they have the flexibility to kind of do things, experiment. There's not a giant bureaucracy to stop them. So innovations,
come from that.
You think of Google, that was a tiny company at once. In fact, was even offered for sale to Yahoo at one stage. And there were so many search engines when it came on board. And now when history is written, you don't hear anything about those search engines. They're pretty much either dead or dying. So when people think that, when they talk about the AI space or the home assistant space,
it's too soon.
It's too soon, and I would seriously say
too soon to call it AI in the end.
But I'd also say that if you're in tech, writing, or you are in the media, or any of those areas, I really do think that you should take some time and kind of see what the smaller companies are doing, because you're gonna break. You're gonna have the scoop essentially about some cutting edge innovation that's gonna make the difference. And also, plus they'll also have the ability to say, hey, listen, I knew about this company long before everybody else did because I did a feature article or whatever it is on that thing. So that's gonna, to me, that's where the things are now. It's way too early for people to even think that anybody has any lock on
it. Agreed. So we want to talk a little bit about people getting into the AI space. What are your feelings there?
So irrespective of who you are, whether you're a consumer or tech person, so when we talk about AI space, AI is going to affect everybody. Whether you're employed in it, you're using it, it's directing you or something like that. No matter what, you're going to be affected by AI. You're going to be dealing with AI. So depending on which piece of it you want to be in, if you're just a consumer who's going to use it, it's cool to know what's coming down the pike.
Right.
So by the way, watch channel like this, because we cover AI and
subscribe to this channel to stay up to date on all the cool things that AI has.
Read as much as you can, because the truth is, knowledge is power, and AI is not a thing to be feared. For the people who want to be in the industry itself, who want to work in there, for those people, I would say AI is going to affect people's jobs. and we don't know exactly to the extent it's going to affect.
Or what that's going to look like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I wouldn't fear it. You know, the main thing I would say to people is, look, AI is something here that the more you know about it, the better you can position yourself. And you have plenty of time to actually sit down and figure out, you know, what your relationship is going to be to AI.
Right.
And if you do that, I think you're going to be, you know, you're going to be one of the ones who embrace it instead of
being afraid of it or just unaware and caught by surprise.
Exactly.
All right, so we've come to a point in our show, a segment we like to call Artificial Irrelevance. Yay! And this is a game where we go through headlines of the day, hot topics, and essentially Kali or whomever our guest will be decides this is relevant, this is artificially irrelevant, and basically tell us why. So we're gonna learn, and you ready for the game? You ready to start?
Yep.
All right, so apparently Stacey Abrams, this is a political point, has made a massive primary win, and this means that she might have a chance to be the nation's, America's, first black woman governor. Is that artificially relevant or artificial irrelevant?
Irrelevant. It's a cool story. I mean, it's a cool story, but I mean, it's not.
But it's irrelevant.
Yeah, it's irrelevant.
Oh, done. Facebook adds AI labs in Seattle and Pittsburgh, pressuring local universities. And basically, he has vowed that his company would keep building despite a swirl of questions around the way it has dealt with misinformation and personal data of its users. Is that artificially relevant or irrelevant?
Artificially relevant.
Relevant.
There's a lot of things that mixed up right there. Frankly, everybody knows the issue Facebook had in terms of privacy and the exposure of 85 million, however many people, private profiles that were exposed. But in terms
I
of
told you that I was one of those people whose information was used.
Okay. Yeah. See, well, there you go. And by the way, privacy in artificial intelligence is very important.
It's a very, very,
very, and we take it seriously. I mean, seriously, we really do.
Yeah.
Take it, and we built it into the product
from the start.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not an afterthought, so that just wanted to put that in.
Just to put that in there, but yeah.
Yeah. The pressure is that there's not a lot of skill sets of people out there now with the skill sets needed for AI. So by pressure, that's what they mean. To try to extract people from the academic world and try to get them into the AI world. But as I mentioned before, all these big companies get all the essentially. Focus. I'm gonna call it FaceTime. That sounds so cool. But not really. But they get the
airtime.
The airtime. Yeah. And unfortunately, the real innovation is going to come
from Arghon.
From Arghon.
I mean, I'm not gonna be humble about it. We're awesome.
We're awesome, but it'll also come from small companies like ours too. So. There are
other companies definitely doing cool things in this space.
Cool things in the space. So.
All right. So you say it's relevant. Ready for another one?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's hear it.
So this is a New York Times opinion piece that says AI is harder than you think, and then I'm just going to read the first sentence here. The field of artificial intelligence doesn't lack for ambition. Day-to-day developments, though, are mundane. Today's dominant approach to AI has not worked out. Yes, some remarkable applications have been built from it, including Google Translate and something. But the limitations of these applications as a form of intelligence should be a wake-up call. If machine learning and big data can't get us any further than a restaurant reservation, even in the hands of the world's most capable AI company, debatable, it is time to reconsider that strategy. So,
there's a lot
what are your thoughts on this artificially relevant?
By the way, do you know who wrote the article?
Gary Marcus and Ernest Davis with the New York Times.
Gary, reach out to us because I'd like to talk to you because you said quite a bit there, and honestly, you got some significant points. But there are also some other things that I think if you kind of knew where we were coming from, this is what this comes back to.
Wait, before you even get into that, is this artificially relevant?
Relevant.
Okay,
totally relevant.
Finish the question. He was like relevant. So put an extra check mark next to that one.
So the issue here is they touched on quite a bit. So I'm just going to pick a few pieces of it because it's a very they cover quite a bit.
Piece, yeah.
It's a meaty piece. This is what happens when the 95% of the exposure about AI comes from these big companies. Because, you know, we took 14 years of building Arghon meant that we took an approach that was much more what people would recognize as AI, as opposed to, you know, the restaurant reservation, that model that they're talking about.
Or you just deal with individual services and
yeah,
just
exactly.
tack on like
the whole
boxes.
relationship, and that's why we actually said, look, we're going to build a personal AI, because in order in order for an AI to be really, really useful, it has to know your life, your life story, what's happening, what's going on. It has to know all of those.
Integrate with your lifestyle.
Exactly. And so once it knows those things, then you can get meaningful things. It can relate things. It can, you know, suggest things. And so that's the approach we took, and which meant that we had to build a whole lot more than a you know, just ask a question, get a basic answer, like, you know, just buy this bottle of water. That's easy. That's not even, I mean, that's reasonably easy for any basic assistant to do. You know, if somebody says, you know, I'm thirsty, and then the AI suggests, you know, would you like me to get you some water? I have a headache. You know, have you? And it starts the conversation. That's when we're talking about real AI. But unfortunately, like I said, you know, the big exposure comes through the big companies, and one would believe, based on what they're reading.
If that was all you saw, which is what most people see, then they think it's a limited and not moving
exactly,
forward.
exactly. That's why I said,
but
you
if
know,
you look at an Arghon,
reach out to us.
It's a much larger experience.
Reach out to us and other small companies to make that. You know.
So I think, I mean, not that this is part of the game, but you definitely agree AI is harder than you think.
Much
and
harder
boy,
than you
do we
think.
know it with 14 years of backing. All right, so we're going to go to the next article, and you tell me, is this artificially relevant or irrelevant? I know you're excited, but let's hear what the headline is first. All right, UK businesses, according to Ryan Dawes, AI will create jobs, not destroy jobs. Yeah. Is that artificially relevant or irrelevant?
Relevant, artificially relevant. Net will create more jobs. You know what? People, sounds counterintuitive, but you know, I can just give you a quick example. So, you know, when computers first came on the scene, it was supposed to, you know, essentially make work so much, you know, give us so much time, and Americans are working harder now with computers, or in fact very advanced computers, than before, you know, when they were working with non-computers. Yeah. AI is going to allow a lot more things to be done. Yeah. Those things are going to need support. So it's, you know, it's going to obviously replace some jobs. Some jobs that are just so mundane, an AI can do it. Yeah. But, you know, the fact is, so let's say, for example, an AI books your vacation for you. Set up this nice vacation and all of that stuff. Okay, fine. So you didn't need a human to make that reservation. Yeah. But now you're on vacation in Cancun. Who's going to serve you your meal? Who's gonna, you know, take you out on that beach thing?
So I mean, it
creates more.
It's kind of like in this article where it says humans will continue to do jobs in high-touch segments such as arts, social enterprises, entertainment, selling, and marketing, where humans pull on people's heartstrings. And this is a comment from Masayoshi Son, chairman of SoftBank. So yeah, I mean, very much agreed. And that actually is the conclusion of our game. So thank you so much, Kali, for participating. Awesome. And thank you all for waking up with Arghon. Subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends. Tell them to subscribe. The contact information is in the box below. Thank you. Leave your comments and let us know what you thought of this episode, and give us a thumbs up. See you in our next video.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Subscribe to this channel, where weekly we'll explore what it means to connect to your world through artificial intelligence. And to be part of the Arghon journey, follow us on social media.